No matter how hard I try, I feel like I can never make enough Red Fram videos. So, howdy, everybody, and today we're gonna talk about how to build Red Fram. Just finished recording the blue Basilica, so we're gonna jump right into the Red Fram. I'm not sure when this video is gonna be posted, but you know how we do it. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at her skills. I really like this hero and what she provides. So we go to her first skill. It says attack the selected enemy 60% chance to provoke them for one turn. So this is a 50% on base. It can go from an 8 can go up to 80%, which is really good because you kind of need her to land these provokes because it sucks if she doesn't. So just letting you know, she is a provoke tank, which is a great thing about her. And her second skill says attacks all enemies 50% chance to provoke them for one turn, 30% chance to reduce their action gauge by 20%. The action gauge reduction can go up to 50%. The action gauge reduction chance can go up to 50%. So that's great. She can be 50-50 on if she reduced the enemy or not, and her debuff chance can go up to 30% from 20. So that's also pretty good. And she provokes everything. So, well, her debuff chance to 60% rather from 50. So she provokes everything, and that's going to be great for her being able to provoke everybody in play. She could be really good on a stun set. Granted, you have the gear for it. Put her on stun, and she kind of just do her thing. Burst. 4 spirit can go down to 3. It says attacks all enemies. Grant the user a revenge counter for one turn. Increases all allies' defense for one turn. So this can go, the revenge buff can go to 2 turns, which is great. It's just like having a warrior built all up in her one kit. I think they probably was trying to go for that because back in the frontier test, she was a warrior, but I guess they opted to make her a guardian because we needed real actual tanks because like so far we didn't really have many tanks that actually fit the tank class. It's like, yeah, they put an Aegis set on, but they do everything but tank damage for the enemy, and she is the epitome of what a tank's supposed to do. Then you have the one turn defense buff, which can be very useful one for when the enemy is about to burst. Granted, you use her burst prior to it. It is a 4 spirit cost, which is pretty expensive, so it's not one that I would say is used, or at least I don't use it all the time. It's just like sometimes when I can fit the chain in, I do. Other times it's just there. Like maybe I do it, maybe I don't. Then she do has a passive that give her defense, which is great because the more defense you have, the more damage you shall mitigate. Then she has uh, her other passive decrease damage from the water element. So this is great too for her since she won't take as much damage from the attribute that she's weak against, and she kind of needs that. So at, at some point, I would love to scale her up. She's gonna be insanely great for your PvP as well as your obelisk and some of your story progression. So if you're like starting the game and you got through your 14 days and you finally got her, she's going to be a stellar one to use for progression. I'm actually using her for my story progression on my bird account. I was thinking about maybe doing some videos just showcasing that count's progression. It's still relatively early game, so it'd be interesting looking at how that account grows and all of that stuff. Leave some comments in the comment section below if you want to see what my green bird account is doing. So like I was saying before, she has 2 provokes, one on her first skill, which before she was in the game, the only thing we had was the light Johann, which she pretty much takes the light Johann's place at that point. Like, why use him when you can use her? Then she has AoE provoke on second skill, so insane if you build her pretty fast, like for PvP per se, to provoke everything and force them to attack her while you build spirit and chain burst the enemy to oblivion, and also on defense as well. So she's going to work really well with a bulwark set, which is our new gear set, and also Aegis. You can go for a triple Aegis set if you wanted to, but she definitely going to shine with bulwark, mitigating as much damage as possible from your team, making her a true tank in its fashion. Got her stats here. I have her currently on a 2-2 HP def build, and she's running speed in both her pendant and her ring. Granted, you can opt out of one speed piece for more debuff rate for like the obelisk per se. That's like past level 20 or so, just to ensure that she isn't being resisted. Probably gonna need some good debuff rate also for PvP, just so she don't get resisted there as well. I wouldn't say as much for PvP because not people are building their teams to just cleave. Nobody's really building for control per se. Well, it's a few people, but we're not super control heavy yet. So, and at that point, that's when most defenses or so will be like tank and spank, just to slow down what the enemy is able to do. But at that point, you still want to have as much speed as possible. Like me personally, I like when heroes have these kind of kits to go actually before my turn bar boosters if they can. Like, it's not necessarily for them. Granted, you want your turn bar booster to be your fastest, but I mean, if you can get a gear set on a hero like our Red Fram here actually faster than your turn bar booster, then by all means go for it. But since most of you will probably be using Crom and they use the same gear set, you're not necessarily going to have her faster unless that's what you actually just want to do. But as you can see, she scales really well in the HP department. Defense, she's not fully leveled yet, so I don't have her like really maxed out. But I believe her defense is pretty decent too. But she scales more on the HP side of things. But as always, you want to stack as much HP and defense as you can possible. You can build her on attack, but it's not necessary. You can go for possible slower, tankier builds where you go 3-3 HP def, or you can go 3-2 HP def. Or 3-2 def HP, depending on what you're looking for. I think she's relatively one of the easier heroes to build because you're just stacking HP, defense, and speed on her and debuff rate if you can manage to get some debuff rate on her. Now, the one place where she's going to be completely useless is the raid. Now, you can have her in there to absorb damage. I mean, it wouldn't be too bad, especially on Green Day, but she's not going to provide much there. At that point, that's when you kind of want a red Zyra instead, because at least she provides some debuffs that are going to be a little more useful to you. And then you're not going to build her to put her in the burst slot just for a one turn defense buff. It's just not a wise decision. I mean, I do use her somewhat in my raid, but she definitely doesn't come to raids that isn't the Green Day. In terms of her best places, of course, Obelisk to mitigate a lot of damage, and PvP, of course, to provoke lock the enemy so your damage dealer or damage dealers can do what they need to do to clean up. And you can't take her into the story, like I said before, but that's pretty much it for the most part. I don't think there's anything else that I could actually say about her. I mean, she's real fun. I got a bunch of videos already up just showcasing like her capabilities and what she does on this build currently. I do have I do have a different build where I run the debuff rate ring instead. This will be more suited for my obelisk. Granted, I get into those higher stages because she doesn't necessarily need to be super fast, but you can still see she got pretty decent subs, so she's still relatively fast even on one piece of speed gear, so that's not too bad for her if I were to go that route. I mean, She not gonna do a lot of damage, but we could do something like that too. Just give her a little more crit rate, but she don't have no attack. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that though. But I do swap between the two pieces if necessary. But mostly I just stay with the double speed. So that's pretty much it. Not sure what I chose for the next list of heroes, but by the time this video is up, you guys are probably going to already been voting on that hero list for the next ones for the How to Build series. I hope you guys have learned something new, and if you did, make sure you smash that like button. If you didn't, there is another button you can smash also, and you can leave some comments in the comment section below and let me know what you think, and we can talk and discuss all of that good stuff as well. Until then, make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Turn those post notifications on. Make sure you see these videos when they go live, or as soon as you can after they go live. And this is your host, Gamer Dude 2088, and I will see you in the next video. Much love. God bless. Deuces.